Hey, comic book gainers. This is Zach here with Comic Get Your Gains. And this is an episode I like to do it every once in a while. Drop some knowledge about comic collecting. And this video will be regarding buying comic book collections the right way, on the cheap, without paying like absorbent amount of money. Alright, and then also stay tuned to the end of the video because I'll be showing you some books I believe that are relevant now but will be more relevant in the future and worth more money, more gains. So, alright, let's jump into it. So the first thing you gotta do is find the collection. Where can you find it? Well, the most common way, most regular way people do it is to go on Craigslist and search comic book collections. And that's one way, probably the way I usually do it. And the other ways are OfferUp, Let It Go, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also find them in the newspaper. Not so much anymore, because the newspaper's pretty much dead. Sorry to say, it's true. But yeah, so, alright, you find the collection, you chat with the person, and you set up a meetup date. Tell them I'm interested in it, but I need to see the books first. Get there, chit-chat with them for a little bit. Get to know them, become friends with them. Ask them a little bit history about the books, where they came from, whether did they collect it, was it their aunts, was it their uncles. Just find out as much as you can about them and the books and whatever else. Like 5 minutes, 10, and then chat with them while looking through the books. And the way that you want to look through the books is you just want to probably spend 10-15 minutes just making sure that all the boxes are filled up, if they're bagged and boarded, what era they're from, what industry made a Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. And if there's any good books in there, pull them out, like really good books, like over $100. Pull them out. And you'll be using that perhaps later for the other type of offering that you do when you usually buy a collection. When you buy a collection, you can't pay cover price for each book. It's impossible. You can't even pay $1 per book. Not as a whole. You're buying the collection because the person that's selling it wants to get rid of it, and you're looking to buy it to either flip or put it in your personal collection, one of the two. I'd preferably say flip it, because when you're buying collection or when you're buying books, you want to buy books that are for you. And you're buying books in a collection that are books that might be for you, but also might be for somebody else. So that's why I'm saying when you buy a collection, usually you want to do is flip majority of the books and then keep the ones that you want, if you want to keep them. So you flip through it, all the boxes, and you kind of figure out the condition, water damage, what areas they're in. It's, Marvel, DC, whatever. You find out as much as you can about it in like a 5, 10, maybe 15-minute time period, depending on how many books there are. Because you don't have all day to look through the books, neither do they. Alright, so you find out, let's say, that they're all full. There's 20 short boxes, or let's say 50 short boxes. And each short box usually has, if they're bagged and boarded, 150 to 200 books, right? So what you want to do is preferably go on the 150 side, all right? Do 150 times the number of boxes times either, or between, I should say, 0.1 to 0.20, or 0.30. If you do the 30, there's less of a chance for you to make money. You have to determine by what you look through real quick if it's worth 30 cents a book. And 0.10 if you want to make a fair margin on the books, because you have to factor in so many things. You can't sell them all for $1 a piece, not after everything's said and done. And then you have to factor in your time and where you're storing it. There's all these things that factor in. You can't pay $1 per book and expect to make money unless they're all Silver Age, Marvel, DC main titles. I mean, then you might want to think about that. But usually that doesn't happen. So, large collection, you have to offer it somewhere between that. You might offer somewhere between 500 to 5,000, maybe even 10,000 if they have 100,000 books collected. Usually you don't run into that, but sometimes you do. And when you get to more books, the more likelihood that they're willing to take that deal, because that's a lot of hassle for them and it's a lot of hassle for you. So getting paid 10 cents a book might be worth it to them. And it's worth it to you because most likely you will find books that you can sell for more than 10 cents a piece. So try to stay towards 10 cents area. It'll be hard, but try. Most likely you'll have to pay somewhere between 10 to 30 cents. Sometimes 30 cents if you see something that's worth it to take a chance. All right, so the other way to do it is let's say you find this awesome collection. You find a lot of expensive books in there. What you want to do is you make sure they're in pretty good, all the books are in pretty good condition. You grab like 3 to possibly even 10 of the books in there. They're worth the most money. And you have to know the current market or this could bite you in the butt. And you pay market for these books. What you could sell it for, though. What you could sell it for. And then have all the books that are in that collection be given to you, basically. You're paying, let's say if those 10 books are worth 1,000 pieces, and you pay them $10,000 for the collection. That's what you have to do. And then everything else you probably make pretty good money on, hopefully. It's less risk for you. They're getting a large sum, probably more than 10 cents a book or 30 cents a book. And that's what you have to do when you're buying collections. You're rarely going to ever run into that. And you might have an interesting conversation. You have to be a good conversationalist to do that second method and even do the first method. But these people are looking to get rid of their books. They don't want their books anymore. You want their books and you're looking to pay them. So you have to meet somewhere in the middle if it's advisable for you. You have to make some money on this. So you can't pay full price for them, sadly. And you're buying a collection. Stuff that you don't want and stuff that you do want. So you kind of gotta meet somewhere in the middle. And those are the 2 ways to buy collections on the cheap where you can make some serious money if you know what you're doing. So you buy a collection also and you're going through it, and let's say 25-30% of the collection is just, you don't even want to mess with it. It's less than $1 per book and you just don't want to take the time to sell it. The way I do it is I take them to half price books or a local comic shop. They have the means to move these books faster than I could possibly move them. It just takes so long. You can't find the right place to sell those less than $1 book anywhere. One okay way to do it is a grab bag, but you have to get a pretty good rep, I think, to sell grab bags on eBay or Instagram or that kind of thing. So you can build a community to sell these books for a fair deal, but also you have to build it step by step by step. And I eventually want to do that too. I want to build a community where we can all get these gains. I can buy books for a fair deal. You can sell books to me for a fair deal. I can sell books to you for a fair deal. There's fair deals all around and we can all make some pretty good gains out of it. That's my goal. I don't think I'm leaving anything out with the collection. Let me think for a second. 10 to 30 cents a book, or buy 3 to possibly even 10 of the most expensive books as the collection. And that could actually be more than 30 cents a book. It depends on the collection, though. All right, so next off is the books that I believe that are somewhat expensive right now, but will be more expensive because how relevant I think they will become. So the first book is New Teen Titans, Tales of the New Teen Titans, number 44. First appearance of Jericho, and what I think is most relevant about this is that it's technically the first appearance of Nightwing, or Robin that becomes Nightwing, I should say. And I got it in the standard highest grade, CGC 9.8. It's a beautiful book, and I think you could possibly get those games. And there's also another book I'm looking to get that's of a Teen Titans set. I think it's New Teen Titans Annual number 2. It's the first appearance of the Vigilante, and then also a character I'm kind of like think it might be big is the first appearance of Cheshire. I might be saying her name wrong, but Cheshire. Yeah, I'm looking for that book. Hopefully signed too. That'd be a sick book to get. It's not really that expensive, but that's another book that might be worth grabbing too. All right, I think they're going to be making a Nightwing movie eventually, or he'll come into the DC movie continuous, and that book's going to go crazy. And I want you guys to get that book before it goes crazy. So that's the first book. The second book you might not actually recognize because you don't recognize this variant cover. Maybe. You might recognize the artist because he always has an iconic way of doing things. Wow, the glare's pretty crazy. Oh, that's not too bad right there. So, if you don't recognize this, this is Amazing Spider-Man number 4. The first appearance of Silk. Or Cindy Moon becomes Silk. First Silk. And this is the colored variant that J. Scott Campbell did. And there's 2 other ones. I got this one, which is, for some reason, there's more print run of this. I think there's 5,000 printed of the colored variant cover. And it's worth the most. It just pops. It's really good. And the one with the least is the one I don't have, but it's the cheapest of the 3. And this is the sketch variant. Yeah, I've read this book before. Cindy Moon is an underrated character regarding the other Spider-Woman characters, I think. Her story is pretty great if you haven't read it. Oh yeah, this one's I think limited to 3,000, and the negative is limited to 1,500. Now to find that information is actually really hard to find, and it might not be correct, but this is what I found from a really old post announcing about that time period. So these 3 covers, the color variant, the sketch cover variant, and the negative, are the rarest Silk first appearance covers out there. And I'm not sure how many people know about it. The Ramos is probably the most expensive. The Ramos variant, the 1 in 25, I believe, is the most expensive. But these ones are the rarest. And I think that will reflect it, especially being J. Scott Campbell covers. I think he's going to become more relevant later again. Right now, I think it's Jim Lee and a few other ones. A few other artists are becoming really relevant right now. I think it's going to wash right through, and then J. Scott Campbell's going to become relevant once again. That's a Coco. Coco! Coco! Yeah. So, I'm not editing that out. Coco! Coco, be a good girl. Sorry about that. So I think that is a really good game that you could possibly get, and to get it fairly on the cheap, like $200. And I think those books will go crazy sooner rather than later, and will still continually go up in price. All right, that's my video, how to buy a collection the right way. and the struggles they have to do selling them. But the positive, you can make a lot of money doing it. A lot of money. You could probably, if you know what you're doing, quit your job and make $100K a year if you know what you're doing. All right. So keep an eye out for those books I mentioned. And like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video. All right. Take care, gainers. Bye.